It all began on what seemed to be just another ordinary day. The exhaustion from a long workday weighed heavily on my shoulders as I drove home through the familiar city streets. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky in orange hues that I barely noticed, lost in thoughts about pending meetings and unfinished projects. I never imagined that within minutes, my perspective on life would transform forever. The first sign was a sharp pain in my chest, so intense it took my breath away. I struggled to maintain control of the steering wheel as my vision gradually blurred. The city's sounds, car horns, the murmur of people on sidewalks, the softly playing radio, began to fade as if someone was slowly turning down the volume of the world. I remember managing to pull the car over, my trembling hands gripping the steering wheel while a sensation of heaviness invaded every inch of my body. The world around me began dissolving into a bright haze, and although I fought against the darkness threatening to envelop me, I felt my consciousness slipping into a different state of being. The next thing I experienced was extraordinary. I found myself floating above the scene, watching my own motionless body in the driver's seat. I saw pedestrians running toward the car, some frantically calling emergency services while others tried to open the door. It was like watching a movie where, surprisingly, I was the protagonist. The paramedics arrived in what seemed like an instant, though time had lost all conventional meaning. I watched them work on my body with a strange mixture of detachment and fascination. Their movements were precise, professional, as they performed cardiopulmonary resuscitation. I heard their voices as if they came from far away, muffled by an inexplicable peace that was beginning to envelope me. That's when everything changed. A golden light, brighter than anything I had ever seen, began to manifest before me. Unlike the sun or any artificial light, this didn't hurt my eyes. It was warm, welcoming, and emanated a sensation of love so profound that I felt tears, or whatever their equivalent was in this state, beginning to flow. From that light emerged a presence I instantly recognized: Jesus. He didn't resemble any artistic representation I had ever seen. His presence was simultaneously majestic and humble, powerful and gentle. His face radiated such deep compassion that I felt as if every emotional wound I had ever experienced began healing just by being in his presence. "Come with me," he said, and his voice resonated not just in my ears but through every fiber of my being. "There's something you need to understand." In the blink of an eye, the scene of my accident disappeared, and we found ourselves in a vast field that stretched as far as the eye could see. But this wasn't an ordinary field. It was woven with threads of light that intertwined, forming complex and beautiful patterns. Each thread seemed to tell a story, and I soon understood that I was observing the very fabric of time and space. "Here," Jesus explained with a smile that contained all the wisdom of the universe. "Time isn't as you know it on Earth. Here, every moment exists simultaneously, connected by the golden thread of divine love." As he spoke, scenes from my life began manifesting around us, like living holographic projections. I saw the day of my birth, my first day of school, my first heartbreak, my wedding, the birth of my children. All these moments existing simultaneously, connected by threads of light that pulsed with their own life. It was fascinating to observe how each moment of my life had a deeper meaning than I had ever imagined. Jesus showed me how seemingly insignificant decisions had created ripples of impact that extended far beyond my immediate understanding. I saw the day I stopped to help an elderly woman with her groceries, a moment I had completely forgotten. That simple act of kindness had triggered a series of events that ended up positively influencing the lives of dozens of people. Each act of love, no matter how small it may seem, Jesus explained as we watched the scene unfold, creates ripples in the fabric of the universe that expand eternally. The images continued flowing before my eyes, showing me moments of my life from a completely new perspective. I saw the times I had chosen forgiveness over resentment, and how those decisions had healed not only my heart, but had also touched others' lives in ways I had never imagined. I also saw the moments when I had chosen the path of resentment and could observe how those decisions had created shadows that darkened not only my own path, but also that of those around me. Time on earth is like a river flowing in one direction, Jesus continued, as we walked through this vast field of memories and possibilities. But here, in eternity, it's more like an infinite ocean where every drop is connected to all others. He then showed me something that took my breath away: the connections between people. It was like a brilliant network of golden threads that united each human being with thousands, millions of others. Every interaction, every kind word, every gesture of compassion created new threads that strengthened this cosmic web of relationships. Look, Jesus said, pointing to a particular moment in my life. Do you remember this day? It was the day I had decided to stay after work to listen to a colleague who was going through a difficult time. At the moment, it had seemed simple, even an inconvenience, as I had other plans. But now I could see how that conversation had been crucial for that person. My willingness to listen had given them hope at a time when they were contemplating drastic decisions. That simple act of presence had created a chain reaction of positive events that continued resonating years later. Love, Jesus explained with a smile that illuminated all the space around us, is the most powerful force in the universe. It knows no limits of time or space. As we observed these scenes, I noticed how each moment of true love created an especially bright light in the fabric of time. It was as if love was the pigment that colored the canvas of existence with the most vibrant and beautiful tones. I also saw moments of pain and suffering, but from this eternal perspective, even these had a purpose. Like an artist using shadows to give depth to a painting, these difficult moments had contributed to creating the complete picture of my life and those around me. Suffering on earth, Jesus explained with infinite compassion, is not the end of the story, but part of a process of growth and transformation. Every tear shed is precious and has a purpose in the grand design of divine love. He then showed me something extraordinary: how each trial and difficulty I had faced had served to strengthen my capacity to love and understand others. Moments of solitude had taught me to value companionship. Losses had helped me appreciate what I had. Failures had given me the humility necessary to grow. In eternity, Jesus continued, there is no lost time. Every experience, every decision, every moment of pain and joy is part of a larger tapestry being woven with infinite care and love. As we observed these scenes, I noticed how some decisions I had made had created new paths and possibilities, not just for me, but for many others. It was like seeing a tree branching infinitely, where each branch represented a choice and its consequences. Free will, Jesus explained, is one of the most precious gifts given to human beings. Each decision you make is an opportunity to create more light in the universe. He then showed me something that deeply moved me: the moments when I had chosen to forgive those who had hurt me. From this eternal perspective, I could see how each act of forgiveness had broken invisible chains of resentment and pain that extended across generations. Forgi, Venice, Jesus said with a smile that contained all the wisdom of the universe, is one of the most transformative forces that exist. When you forgive, you not only free others but free yourself. As we contemplated these scenes, I began to truly understand the power of love and forgiveness. I saw how each act of kindness, each kind word, each gesture of understanding created waves of light that expanded infinitely in time and space. Love, Jesus continued, is not just a feeling. It is the most powerful creative force in the universe. It is what unites all moments, all lives, all existences in a perfect symphony of divine purpose. He then showed me something that left me breathless: the future, not as a series of predetermined events, but as an infinite field of possibilities, all shining with different intensities according to the decisions we would make. Each decision you make, he explained, creates new possibilities, new paths, new opportunities for love and growth. As I observed these future possibilities, I felt a deep sense of responsibility and at the same time freedom. Each moment was an opportunity to choose love, to create more light in the universe. Your work on earth, Jesus said with infinite tenderness, is not finished. There is more love to give, more light to create, more souls to touch with your presence. I then felt a gentle but firm pull back toward my physical body. It was as if every cell of my being remembered its purpose and mission on earth. Remember, were his last words as the scene began to fade. Time is just an illusion. What matters is the love you share in each moment you are given. The return to my body was like waking from a deep dream, but with a clarity and purpose I had never experienced before. The sounds of the hospital began filtering into my consciousness. The constant beeping of machines, the concerned voices of nurses, the sighs of relief from my loved ones. I opened my eyes to find familiar faces blurred by tears of joy. But I was no longer the same person who had entered that hospital. I had seen eternity, had experienced divine love in its purest form, and had understood the true purpose of our existence. Every day since then has been a gift, an opportunity to put into practice what I learned in that encounter with eternity. Each moment is precious, each interaction an opportunity to share love, each decision a chance to create more light in the world. And although time on earth continues its linear course, my heart beats to the rhythm of eternity, reminding me that we are part of something much larger, more beautiful, and more meaningful than we can imagine. Each day is a new opportunity to weave more threads of love into the great tapestry of existence, knowing that each act of kindness, each kind word, each gesture of forgiveness resonates in eternity. My near-death experience wasn't an ending, but a new beginning. It showed me that life is a precious gift, a unique opportunity to create, love, and grow. And although the material world continues its course, I carry within me the certainty that we are part of an infinite love story that transcends time and space. Now I live each day with the awareness that every moment is an opportunity to create more love, more light, more hope in the world. And although sometimes the path is difficult, the memory of that encounter with eternity reminds me that love is the most powerful force in the universe, and that each of us has the power to make that light shine in the world. Each morning when I wake up, I find myself amazed by how completely my perspective has changed. The simplest routines have acquired a profound meaning that I couldn't perceive before. The simple act of preparing coffee has become a moment of contemplation, where each aroma reminds me of the interconnection of all things, from the farmers who grew the beans to the people who transported them, each contributing their energy and effort to this present moment. At work, my interactions with colleagues have taken on a completely new aspect, where before I saw simply co-workers, now I perceive souls on their own journey of growth and learning. I find myself dedicating more time to truly listening to their concerns, their joys, their fears. I've noticed how this new way of being present has begun to create waves of change in the office. Maria, a colleague who had always seemed distant and somewhat bitter, approached me a few days ago with tears in her eyes. She told me how my way of listening without judgment during a particularly difficult moment had given her the courage to seek professional help for her depression. "There's something different about you," she said, "something that makes me feel it's worth keeping trying." Family gatherings have also acquired a new dimension. I observe my children playing and see beyond their physical actions. I perceive their bright souls, full of divine potential and purpose. Conflicts that used to irritate me I now see as opportunities to teach and learn about love and understanding. The other day, my older son had a heated argument with his sister over a video game. Instead of immediately intervening with a reprimand, I sat with them and asked how they felt. I told them about the invisible threads that connect our actions with others' emotions, and how each decision we make creates ripples that affect those around us. To my surprise, they not only resolved their conflict, but began talking about how they could be kinder to each other. The news on television, which used to fill me with anxiety and pessimism, I now see from a broader perspective. Each tragedy, each conflict, is a call for more love, more understanding, more light. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by negativity, I look for ways to contribute positively, however small they may be. I began participating in a local volunteer group, bringing food to elderly people who live alone. Each visit is an opportunity to share not just physical nourishment, but also that unconditional love I experienced in my encounter with eternity. I'm surprised by how a simple conversation, a sincere smile, can brighten someone's day who feels alone. During my morning walks, I often stop to observe the sunrise. The colors of the sky remind me of that golden light I saw during my experience, and I feel a deep connection with everything around me. The trees, the clouds, even the pavement beneath my feet. Everything seems to vibrate with a vital energy I couldn't perceive before. I've begun keeping a journal where I record not just the day's events, but also the connections and synchronicities I observe. It's amazing to see how small acts of kindness create ripple effects that come back to me in the most unexpected ways. The other day, I helped a young man who had lost his wallet in the supermarket. 3 days later, a stranger stopped to help me when my car broke down in the rain. Conversations with my closest friends have acquired a depth that seemed impossible before. Some have confessed that they feel a different energy when they're near me, a peace that invites them to open up and share their deepest concerns. I don't pretend to have all the answers, but I share with them the certainty that love is the most powerful force in the universe. My relationship with time has completely changed. I no longer feel like a slave to the clock, running from one activity to another. Each moment is an opportunity to be fully present, to create more love, to be a channel of light. The rush has been replaced by a sensation of natural flow with the rhythm of life. I've noticed changes even in my physical health. The anxiety that used to torment me has given way to a deep peace that seems to emanate from within. The chronic pains that afflicted me have diminished, as if my body were responding to this new way of being in the world. Nights have acquired special meaning. Before sleeping, I dedicate time to Rev, viewing the day, not to judge my actions, but to recognize the moments when I could be a channel of love and light. Sometimes, in that state between wakefulness and sleep, I feel again that deep connection with eternity that I experienced during my near-death encounter. Dreams have also changed. They're more vivid, more meaningful. I often wake up with deep insights about situations I face or decisions I must make. It's as if my subconscious were more attuned to that universal wisdom I experienced. My way of facing challenges has evolved significantly. When problems arise, I no longer feel overwhelmed by stress and worry. Instead, I look for the hidden lesson, the opportunity for growth that each difficulty presents. I remember Jesus' words about how each experience, even painful ones, has a purpose in the grand design of divine love. Difficult relationships have become my greatest teachers. That person at work who used to irritate me, I now see as a mirror reflecting aspects of myself that I need to work on. Compassion has replaced judgment, and I've noticed how this new attitude has begun to transform even the most tense relationships. I've begun sharing my experience with small groups of people who meet in my house once a week, not to preach or impose beliefs, but to create a safe space where everyone can explore their own spiritual experiences and connection with the divine. It's beautiful to see how these conversations have created a community of mutual support and growth. My relationship with nature has deepened enormously. I spend more time in the garden, observing the miracle of life that manifests in each plant, each insect, each drop of dew. I've started a small organic garden, and the act of growing food has become a form of active meditation, a way to connect with the natural cycles of life. Music and art have acquired new dimensions in my life. I listen to melodies not just with my ears, but with my whole being, perceiving the vibrations that resonate with that universal harmony I experienced. I've begun painting, not with the intention of creating masterpieces, but as a way to express that connection with the divine that I now constantly feel. Family celebrations have transformed into sacred moments of connection and gratitude. Instead of focusing on material gifts, we create spaces to share stories, express love, and strengthen the bonds that unite us. Each birthday, each anniversary, is an opportunity to celebrate not just the event itself, but the divine presence that unites all our moments. My perspective on death has also changed radically. I no longer see it as a fearful end, but as a transition, another step in our eternal journey. This understanding has allowed me to have deeper and more meaningful conversations with people facing the loss of loved ones, offering comfort from a place of understanding and personal experience. Each day is a new opportunity to put into practice the lessons I learned in my encounter with eternity.